Well, hello and good evening. Welcome to the Mythical Ireland Library. I'm going to put the blind up because the sun, I think, has gone down. 8:07 and the sun has set. Autumn is drawing in. However, it has been a fabulous couple of days here in the Boyne Valley. 24 degrees Celsius here today. Actually, may have hit 25. Gorgeous day. Best day of the summer so far in the autumn. Hope you're all keeping well. Welcome to episode number 241. I didn't advertise today with a graphic like I usually do, simply because I was away all day. I was on tour guiding two Australian ladies around the Boyne Valley. Fabulous day, wonderful day for exploring the ancient monuments and mythology of the valley. Not long home, so didn't know whether it was going to happen or not. But we're here, and you're here, which is important. Yes, good. So I'm just going to quickly run through. If you're joining us, of course, if you're watching on Facebook or on YouTube, please do feel free to drop a comment in the chat on Facebook or on YouTube. And if it's your first time, say hello. We'll say hello back. We'll make you feel very welcome, of course, as we always do. If you're on YouTube, please do subscribe to the channel. We're at 19,900 subscribers. So almost at the 20,000, and maybe you can help that happen tonight. Elaine Dent Lingenfelter is tonight's first commenter. What a shock! In a shock development. And it's 36 Celsius in Texas. Still hot. And thanks for all your kindness to Cheyenne. Brilliant stuff. I suspect she'll get inundated with correspondence, which is wonderful. Let me know how she gets on. Samantha Healy is in the house. Hello, Anthony, and to all the Tua and Fáilte Roat. Samantha, good evening to you. Welcome. John Main is saying, Banachtaí an Tuagaléir, reading Mallory's The Origins of the Irish. Highly recommended, especially from chapter 7 on, where the new DNA evidence is discussed. What a puzzle. That has to be the revised edition, isn't it? The original didn't have that. Yeah, fabulous piece of work, and has informed some of my own work and some of the things I talk to people about on tours. A brilliant book. Liz Curry is in Perth, Australia. Brilliant. Not sure why I'm awake at 3 a.m., but anyway, I've just finished a tour with two ladies from Perth, Western Australia. We were at Four Knocks today, and we were at Tara, and we were at Loch Crew. There's a good one. So, yeah, you're awake at 3 a.m. because your body clock said, I have to watch Live Irish Myths live. So we can say hello live. Good morning to you, by the way. Happy Tuesday morning from all of us who are still in Monday here in the Western Hemisphere. Johnny Wilson is in Dallas, Texas, 90 Fahrenheit this afternoon. I think she might just be beginning to cool off a little bit, but hopefully. Wayne Bird, good evening, Anthony. Hope everyone is well. Nice to see the moon and Jupiter together with three bright stars. Maybe the eagle in the Aquila constellation. Yes, Altair, isn't it? Altair is the bright star of Aquila. Good stuff, Wayne. You should get a message there about a certain pendant is on its way to you, winging its way shortly across the sea. Joe Butler is in the house. Thought we might not see you today. I'm so glad you're presenting a new episode, sharing to MIC pages. Thanks, Joe. Yeah, wasn't quite sure. It was a lovely day, a long day, but a lovely day in good company, in fabulous weather, and with two very interesting people. And only got back home at about 7:30 and had to have the old dinner. So we were a little bit late starting, but that's okay. Kathy May Deo is off work today. Off on holiday. Rainy, cold Newcastle, Washington State. Hello, Mr. Anthony and Tua. Hope all are doing well. I'm good here. And I hope you enjoy your day off. And I hope the weather doesn't spoil it. Teresa Collins is saying, Trinonoa, I give Golair a Tua August Anthony. Thanks, Teresa and Fáilte is Jock. Gavin O'Flaherty. And will Kiadagum Tulgagia Laris. Can I go to the toilet? And it's hard enough saying it, never mind spelling it for anyone who wants to correct me. Good evening to you, Gavin, watching on YouTube. Thank you for the humour, because, you know, we are renowned on Live Irish Myths for humour. Bad humour, bad dad jokes, actually. Mariana Dunn is in sunny Alexandria, Virginia. Glad to hear the sun is shining somewhere in the world other than Ireland today. Brendan Byrne is saying the shadows have lengthened in the valley. And he's, of course, talking about Glendalough in County Wicklow. A reminder to respect and read nature. Yes, indeed. Rex Fortenbury saying Giogich Anthony Antone August na mighty tua. It's 90 Fahrenheit in Baton Rouge today. Folks are breaking out their sweaters, breaking out the ice cubes. I hope. Wayne Bird is asking Elaine a question. Good stuff. Adrian O'Beglin is in the house. Sláinte, Adrian, hope you're well. Gemma McGowan is here. A Jehiv spectacular evening at Douth. Love those September sunsets. A bit jealous, but then having spent the day at Fornox and the Hill of Tara and Loch Crew in that splendid sunshine, not so jealous, actually. Gemma, I hope you're in good form. Met the other half on Saturday in Drogheda with the kids, and he was inviting me out for tea. And I said, I will. So next time I'm passing, if there's a knock at the door and I'm there, look, you know the crack. Anne McCallum is saying, hello, Anton and all the mighty too. I hope everyone's in fine form. Happy Labour Day to all the Americans and Canadians. Happy Labour Day to all of you. And apparently it's Labour Day and you get a day off for Labour Day. So you don't have to do any labour. It's very sunny, hot and humid here. 32 Celsius, but feeling like 37. Wow. I thought Canada, the Canadians, I thought Canada was cold. I mean, colder than Ireland. But it turns out I'm wrong. All set to enjoy another episode from P.W. Joyce's book, Indeed. Adina Sparks, good afternoon to you. Hope everyone's looking well. I thought that I hope everyone's looking well. Hope everyone's doing well. Looking forward to another great read. Nice to have you along, Adina. Northman is in Poland. I just got into Cork University to study about Celts and Ireland, mostly BC. Brilliant stuff, and congratulations to you, Northman. I believe that the most easterly inland passage tomb in Europe is in Poland. Most of them are on the fringes of Europe, but there are some in Poland, apparently. Correct me if I'm wrong. Nick Eska Casterton is here. Hope you're all well. Great to make it here again. We seem to be having an Indian summer here in Worcestershire, but I'm not going to complain with the days getting shorter and the early mornings are rather dark now. Yeah, and it's been, today has been comparable to any of the best days we've had this summer, remembering that we had a total washout in July, and the last time we had really warm sunny weather was in June. I would say today topped that temperature-wise. It was gorgeous. Lily Shambles is in the house. May I beg a favour from you? I've been in agony with a bad back for 4 months, gradually going up the scale of painkillers to morphine. Finally, I've been told, and I don't see another half of the message, so maybe you might send that or I'll catch up with it. And Kathy May is saying hello. Sotonar is in the house. Trenonawa. Welcome. Sláinte. Fáilte is Jock Makara. Paul McFeely is in the house. Paul, good evening to you. Thank you for joining us. Derek Hollingsworth is saying, Trenonawa, the anniversary of the so-called Flight of the Earls. They had Gaelic titles and intended returning. We were talking about that today, me and my guests at the Hill of Tara. The signing of the Treaty of Mellifont by Hugh O'Neill and the dead Queen Elizabeth and all of that. Judy McQueen is in Oregon. Good afternoon to you, just about. Shortly after, 1:15 noon there. Hello, and good afternoon to you. Sharon O'Farrell is in the house. Yeah, hello, Sharon. Good to see you, of course. What an amazing Indian summer in the Boyne Valley today. Fantastic, isn't it? You know, the Western Australian ladies were saying, this is comparable to the weather we have at home. Lily Shambles, yes, the rest of the message. It's a trapped nerve, so can I please have some dad jokes to cheer me up? They can make me smile or groan, but not enough to make me lol, so it hurts my back. Yeah, well, I was just having a conversation with the missus there, and she said, you never listen to anything I say, do you? And I said, yes, I'll have a beer, thanks very much. Who else? Northman would be grateful of the opportunity to meet me in the near future because I want to learn as much as possible about Irish mythology, mainly for my knowledge and projects. Excellent. You could do yourself a favor, and that is go back through the YouTube channel. This is episode 241. There is a lot of material there for you to catch up on. But do feel free to send me an email. Alva Kelly is in the house. Banachty to Fame. Enjoying this evening as the sun is setting on this beautiful day, and indeed a gorgeous, rare, beautiful, gorgeous day. I mean, all days in Ireland are gorgeous, of course, even the stormy ones, but this one was particularly gorgeous. Barbara Murphy's in the house. Looking forward to an enjoyable afternoon. I may have to leave a bit early, but we'll catch up. That's perfectly okay, Barbara, and welcome. Burr Whelan is in the house. Fabulous all day in Dublin. Yeah, I think it was fabulous all over Ireland today. And John Main says we are actually expecting rain over the next few days in. I keep saying it's Crete, isn't it? I keep going to say Cyprus. It's Crete, isn't it? John, everywhere you go, you bring the rain. I'm joking, of course. But, I see shifts happen. I bet you any money it's cloudy and raining in parts of southern Spain today. Because when we get the really good weather, they get the really crap weather. Helen Hurst Chader is in the house. Greetings, Anthony, and all the Tua. Packing for Ireland. Compromises have been made. Is that because you have to make room for the books that you'll buy while you're here to bring them back? No, I know. Helen, looking forward to seeing you on this side of the Atlantic. Movanway Millward, good eve, everyone. I was on holiday last week wearing woolly hats and jumpers in mid-Wales. Now overheating in Bristol at 30 degrees. Wow. I clearly took the wrong week off. Great to be here with you all, however, after missing a couple of weeks of Mythflix fun. Well, it's great to see you back, Movanway, and you're always welcome, of course. Thank you, Brendan. Very nice. And for the newcomers in particular, that's a lovely thing for you to say. Anna L has joined us from just down the road in Ballybrigeen in Dublin. Anne Scott Doherty is not in smoky southern Oregon in the dense smoke anymore. I'm coming to you from County Clare. What a gorgeous day today. Well, brilliant. And you brought the weather with you, Anne, so stay there as long as you like. If the weather stays like that while you're in Ireland, then stay here. Susan Scott is saying computer issues today held me up, but I'm here. And you know what? You're here in perfect time because we haven't started the reading yet. So all's good. All's good. No reunion this year. Let's shoot for next year, everyone. Apparently, we can't all agree on a date upon which we would all be available. So, unfortunately, the date that we had talked about last time is not available because I had forgotten. How could I possibly forget that the Boyne Valley Trails September Walking Festival is on that week? Watch out for several Mythical Ireland-led walks on that week. Tom King has joined us. The master smith of the forge of the smooth road, Bohermeen. A beautiful day in the Boyne Valley. Hope all in great fettle. Working away as the sun sets. I'd say, Tom, you'd need to wire up a fan to keep you cool in weather like that, because not only are you working at a hot forge, but the sun's baking down on you as well. Michael Pike has joined us. Good afternoon to you, Michael. You're very, very welcome to Live Irish Myths. Tuesday Thompson is saying Happy Mythology Monday. So happy to be here. And we're happy to have you. You're here from tomorrow, apparently, or from 6 days ago, depending on how you look at it. And you're on YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe. Click the L subscribe button there. But very glad to have you along. And that appears to be us caught up with the old messages. So we'll get on with it, will we? I know we started late, several minutes late. That's my fault, as I say, away on tour today. Got a new water bottle. My eldest daughter bought that for me today. It features his lordship, Darth Vader. And I am going to take a sip now. I promise you it is water. Now, I can't show you because I can't tip the bottle over and spill it. So you'll have to take my word for it. Oh, geez, that must be a single malt. Anyway, what was I saying before I started talking about whiskey? I mean water. Yes. Rex, all is good. Yes, Rex is talking to somebody else. Archistomy Database, can't wait to hear of your adventures in the Emerald Isle. Yes. A fan, says Tom. What a cool idea. It's funny. Brilliant. Now, shall I lock the keyboard? I got a new keyboard for my computer because the old one was dirty and broken. I got one of these fancy. It's apparently it's a gaming keyboard. I don't do gaming, right? Just to let you know, I don't waste time with any of that nonsense. Too busy writing and doing all that stuff. But yeah, it is a nice keyboard. Very nice keys on it. Very fancy. And backlit. Fancy colours. Yeah, good. And I couldn't resist because it came with a mouse, and the mouse is very fancy, and the mouse changes colour without you having to press any buttons. It goes through a sequence of different colours. Wow. I know, right? Totes gel. Totally jealous. Anyway, moving swiftly on. We need reading. Ismatlum Ishka says, sorry, it's after skip. As soon as you click it, it disappears. That's Barbara Murphy. Wow, something useful from Duolingo. And I knew what you meant. I like water. Ismatlum Ishka Baha. Ismatlum Pionta Guinness. Bet you don't know what that means. It's a real secret coded language. Anthony is an undercover gamer. Yeah, literally. No. I used to. When I was young, I used to play Doom. Does anybody remember Doom? And then later Quake. Anybody remember ID games? Are they still on the go? Doom. Yeah, I used to play it for hours and hours and hours as a teenager and a young adult. And I'd be boggle-eyed at the end of it. And then I migrated from there to Quake. Yeah. But over the years, I just moved away from gaming because it's just a terrible waste of your time, you know. And Gavin, you're not wrong. Doom was outstanding back in the day. Yeah. I love your new typewriter, says Anne. Husband Bill wrote his book on one of those. Oh, brilliant. Yeah, I got a Selectric 3 through Tom King. Tom King got it for me, actually. And it is in pristine condition. It's 4 decades old. It was made in 1918. Yeah, okay, Anthony. No, it wasn't. It was made in 1981, 82, or 83, I'm told. So it's at least 40 years old. And I've been writing with it, and it is fabulous. I love it. I love it. And I think whenever I'm finished my Fornox monograph and my Return to Segish Companion, I will probably write another book on the Selectric. Caroline Engrand has joined us. Hello, Caroline. I don't think we've seen you in a while. You're very welcome. And we're just about to start the story, so that's perfect timing. My son is a senior programmer for Doom, says Helen. Well, you mean was. I mean, is Doom still a thing? It's not still on the go, is it? Really? Wow. Fantastic. Yeah. Interesting. Sarah Murray is in Ennismore, Ontario. Sounds like a very Irish name, of course. Hello, Sarah, and good afternoon to you. What a pleasure to see you on the other side of the camera this time. Remember, I think we met at Fornox and Douth earlier in the year at some of my tours. Anyway, I will get on with things. This is called Chapter 3, and it is titled Monarchical Government, and Section 1 is Territorial Subdivision. I may need to use the speckies. As a friend of mine said, and he's older than me by probably about 15 or 20 years, he said, the old lamps are not what they used to be, referring to his eyes, of course. Before entering on the subject of government, it will be useful to sketch the main features of the ancient territorial divisions of the country. It was parcelled out into 5 provinces from the earliest times of which we have any record. And of course, this is the thing that we encounter at Ishnock, the 5 provinces, 4 meeting in the sacred centre, which is the 5th. Is there a list of upcoming tours, says Caitlin? No. So, yes, sorry. Yes and no. And it's something I need to work on over the coming days because I've been very busy with tours, in particular, private tours. So I am planning to do Fornox again. I haven't just set a date for that. But the September Walking Festival, the Boyne Valley Trails event, I'll be doing a Hill of Tara tour, and I'll be doing a Brunabonia Myths and Legends tour, and just waiting for the final details on that. What we're hoping to do is walk from the visitor centre to Douth to Newgrange to Nouth. We did it last year. So there will, if they're not already selling tickets for that, they will be shortly. Dee Bodell is in the house. Hello, Dee. Good afternoon, good evening to you. Good to see you on the live stream. And Irish Technical Thinker says, greetings all just in time. Perfect timing again. So here are the provinces as he has listed them. Leinster, East Munster, West Munster, Connacht and Ulster. A partition which, according to legend, was made by the 5 Fervulloch brothers, the sons of Dela. Lyon or Leinster originally extended in coastline from Inverculpa, the mouth of the Boyne at Drogheda, to the River Suir. East Movan or Munster from the Suir to the Lee at Cork. West Munster from the Lee round to the Shannon. Olnigmacht or Connacht from Limerick and the Shannon to the little river Drowse, which issues from Loch Melvin and flows between the counties of Leitrim and Donegal. And Ullad or Ulster from this round northwards to the Boyne. And an important thing to note here is that the province of Ulster once extended south all the way to the River Boyne. This division became modified in course of time. Sorry, just checking up on. Mickey Ansbury is in the house. Good afternoon to you and welcome, welcome, welcome. Terry Clonard area Macmillan. Hello, Terry. Thumbs up to you also. And I think Barb Jordan is in the house. Or did I say hello to you already? I'm not sure. But apparently Tom is saying hello to you, so he must see you there somewhere. Anyway, welcome one, welcome all. The division became modified in course of time. The 2 Munsters, East and West, gradually ceased to be distinguished, and Munster was regarded as a single province. A new province, that of Meath, or Mee, it's spelled M-I-D-E, and it looks like Midge, but it's actually pronounced Mee, because it's M-I for the D-H-E, and the H would basically silence the D, the lenition. Mee, or Meath, as it is known now, it's now a county, M-E-A-T-H, was formed in the 2nd century of the Christian era by Tuathal the Acceptable, King of Ireland. Presumably that's Tuathal Techtmar, which means apparently Tuathal the Acceptable. Tuathal the just about acceptable, or, you know, sorry, I'm just looking up something here now. I'm going down a rabbit hole already. No, Anthony, you can't possibly be already diverting your attention away from the reading. Yeah, it also means, according to the Dictionary of the Irish Language, Techtmar means the legitimate. So Tuathal the Acceptable or Tuathal the legitimate. Yes. It's, you know, it's like there's a meme, isn't there, in which, you know, Alexander, the person who should be Alexander the Great is actually just Alexander the Average, and his wife is sort of giving out to him, saying, you know, you could do so much better with your life, you know. He's just Alexander the Acceptable, not Alexander the Great. I'm just taking a margin note here. So that's Techtmar, 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 Tuathal Techtmar, the King of Ireland circa 100 AD. And Techtmar, according to the Dictionary of the Irish Language, sorry, I'm just taking that reference, dil.ie entry number 40289 equals legitimate. That has other meanings, doesn't it? Tuathal the legitimate. Meaning we know who his parents were, and they were man and wife. I'm, you know, maybe getting carried away, but I like that. Tuathal the Acceptable. It almost sounds Monty Python-esque. Down to his time, the provinces met at a point on the hill of Ishnach in the present county Westmeath, marked by a great stone called Isle Nimiran. Now, I want to just again divert another rabbit hole already. Somebody was looking for free games. Gavin, his mom doesn't even get free games. Lol. Yes. So if there's anybody sort of in line for free games, send one. This no, I'm joking. Actually, don't. Do me a favor, don't. Because if I play it, I'll get hooked on it, and if I get hooked on it, I won't be writing. So I had asked at a talk I gave at Ishnock a few years ago. Well, it wasn't a few, because a few years ago was the middle of the pandemic, so it must have been longer than that. I asked about the pronunciation of what is regularly spelled Mirren, Mireann, or Mirenn, but in brackets here it has Ilna Miran, Meeran, and I saw it pronounced that way in the folklore, the school's folklore, and I wondered whether it should be Mirren or Miran. And I was told that locally they'd pronounce it Mirren, Ilna Miran, but I just wonder historically if it wasn't known as Ilna Miran. The stone of divisions, which stands there, a conspicuous object still, and of course it's still there to this day. And you can take a tour of Ishnock and actually see it. Let me see. Just going to have a look to see. Yeah, I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole right now. I can do that later when I'm not reading to 100 people or whatever it is. Patricia Pack is back in the house. Hello, Patricia. Welcome back, Pack. See what I did there? Oh, that was terrible. Yes, indeed. Gavin's advice to Helen is to disown her son if he's not willing to give her free games. Yes. To find the Holy Grail, wizard. What is the capital of Australia? Yes. Don't open that can of worms. Beer. Can of beer. Don't open that can of beer. Yes. Tom Lawler has joined us as well from the Devil's Bit in County Tipperary. Told you about that, folks, didn't I? Or did I? Was that on a live stream or on a tour? The Devil's Bit is the chunk that the devil bit out of the mountain, chewed it up, and spat it out, and it landed in the middle of the plain and became the Rock of Cashel. Round this point, Tuathail formed the new province by cutting off a portion of each of the others. It was designed to be the mensal land or personal estate of the Ard Rí, or Supreme King of Ireland, that he might be better able to maintain his court with due state and dignity. And that's interesting, because I never realized that, and there may be a dispute about that he actually took off portions of the other provinces. It was said that the fifth province was the stone, that it wasn't actually like a large province with a boundary, Thank you, Patricia, for the forgiveness for that terrible joke. The full Irish Gary is in the house. Good evening, great and good. Another fine day on the sun. What an understatement. You say that regardless of how bad the weather is, And we've had probably the best day of the year, and you're just saying another fine. No, I'm joking. So, hiked up to Sea Fin today. Brilliant. Sad to see the damage to Fin Seat done by those who have never heard of the warnings of our ancestors. I can't believe the amount of vandalism there has been. Do not get me started. What I wouldn't do to those people. Mensal. Monthly, as in mensis, but that's not what this means. Mensal land or personal estate. Mensal land isn't land that a king visits monthly. It has to have another meaning, surely. I am serious. Don't call me Shirley. Can you fly and land this plane? Surely you can't be serious. I am serious. Don't call me Shirley. Occurring, done, appearing, payable, etc. once a month. Lasting or valid for a month. Once a month. Another meaning is a book or a periodical magazine, and often plural. Another meaning is a menstrual period. Wow. Somebody explain, in the context of mensal land or personal estate for the High King of Ireland, what mensal means in that regard. Please help me, because I do not know. T is in the house. Tea all round, please. Thank you. Make mine a peppermint. Thank you. Oh, chamomile, actually, at this time of the evening. Chamomile. Ola Conrad is joining us from Denmark. Good evening and welcome. I heard a rumor that there's a Neolithic monument in the Phoenix Park. Yeah, it's a dolmen, isn't it? And actually, it was damaged recently by, I don't know who, but somebody driving a machine tipped against it and broke a corner off it, if you can believe that. I believe it's a Neolithic dolmen, a portal tomb. Yep, there is. Absolutely. There you go. I think it's a bit overgrown and collapsed now. I think it was excavated too. It'll be on. Actually, the historic environment viewer has been down, and it's still down. That's very annoying. Have a look on. Oh yeah, of course. I was going to say heritage maps, but when you try to click the layer that has national monuments on it, it's not available either. So the whole thing is down. So, but yeah, a dolmen. Alan Hoskins is in the house, albeit late. It's been a while, and I'll not explain why here. Good to be back, and greetings from Ballinakillaloo. Well, it's great to see you, Alan. We are very happy to have you. Hope you enjoyed the weather today. Previous to his time, the King of Ireland, the King of Ireland only had a small tract, a single tua, see next page, for his own personal use. Actually, it doesn't say personal, it just says for his own use. I've inserted a word there through automatic reading. This new province was about half the size of Ulster, extending from the Shannon eastwards to the sea, and from the confines of the present County Kildare and Kings County on the south to the confines of Armagh and Monaghan on the north. The present counties of Meath and Westmeath retain the name, but comprise only about half of the original province. At the time of Tuathal's accession, AD 130, there were 4 places belonging severally to the 4 provinces, situated not far from each other, which for centuries previously, as will be shown further on, had been celebrated as residences and as centres for great periodical meetings for various purposes. Tara in Leinster, Tulchin in Ulster, now Telltown on the Blackwater, midway between Navan and Kells, Clothga in Munster, now the Hill of Ward, near Athboy in Meath, and Ishnock in Connacht. That's really, really strange. I'm bamboozled by that. The claim that well, okay, hang on. I'm going to read this again. So, at the time of Tuathal's accession, there were 4 places belonging severally to the 4 provinces, situated not far from each other. Also, they belonged to the provinces, but weren't in those provinces. Clochta in Munster, like Clochta is in Meath, nowhere near Munster. All of these were included in the new province, and Tuathal built a palace in each. So these were all in Meath. Tara, Tulchin, Clochta, and Ushnock. All of these were included in the new province, and Tuathal built a palace in each. Sorry, apologies. Yeah, that's okay. Of which some of the mounds and fortifications remain to this day. After his time, the 5 provinces generally recognised and best known in Irish history were Leinster, Munster, Connacht, Ulster, and Meath. Woo! Besides the formation of a new province, there were several minor changes. Muirhevna and Cuilnge, both forming the present County Louth, were transferred from Ulster to Leinster. The present County Cavan, which originally belonged to Connacht, was given to Ulster, and the territory now known as County Clare, there you go, and Scott Doherty, was wrested from Connacht and annexed to Munster. Down to the time of Tuathal, Connacht included a large tract east of the Shannon, a part of the present County Westmeath. But in accordance with his arrangements, the Shannon in this part of its course became the eastern boundary of that province. Of course, that makes sense, doesn't it? Use rivers as provincial boundaries. The most ancient division of Munster as has been said, was into east and west, but a later and better known partition was into Thomond or North Munster, which broadly speaking included Tipperary, Clare, and the northern part of Limerick, and Desmond or South Munster, comprising Kerry, Cork, Waterford, and the southern part of Limerick. In latter ages, however, the name Thomond has been chiefly confined to the county Clare, the patrimony of the O'Briens. Recently, Meath has disappeared as a province, and the original provinces now remain Leinster, Munster, Connacht, and Ulster. So we have apparently Tuathail Techtmar to thank for the fact that Cavan play in the Ulster Championship of the Gaelic Games, and Louth play in the Leinster Championship and not the Ulster Championship. Thank you, Tuathail. I think. Don't know much about GAA myself. The provinces were subdivided into territories of various sizes. The political unit, i.e., the smallest division, having a complete political and legal administration, was the Tuath, Tuath. The original meaning of Tuath was populace, a tribe of people. And that's where we get our name from, the Mythflix Tuath, the tribe that has grown up around the live stream since the 12th of March 2020. But in accordance with a well-known custom in Ireland, the term came to be applied to the land occupied by the tribe. In its original application, a Tuath must have represented roughly a definite population, for we are told that its king had 700 fighting men, and of course that's recorded in the Brehon laws. And as the term had reference to a tribe rather than to the district they occupied, the several Tuath districts must have varied in size. But when once the term began to be applied to the land, it came in course of time to be used as designating, in theory at least, a territory of fixed area. In this sense, a Tuath was usually considered as equivalent to what was called a tríocha cage, meaning 30 ballies or ballybetachs, Irish ballia Biataigh, Biataigh. And again, this is from the Brehon laws. Each ballybetach contained 12 sesrachs or ploughlands, and each ploughland 120 large Irish acres. A bally or townland was of a size sufficient to sustain 4 herds of cows of 75 each, i.e., 300 cows in all, quote, without one cow touching another, unquote. And a ploughland was as much as a single plough could turn up in a year. In tabular form, this subdivision is 1 tríocha cage or Tuath equals 30 ballybetachs. 1 ballybetach equals 12 sesrachs. 1 sesrach equals 120 Irish acres. Fascinating stuff. This is in accordance with what is laid down in an ancient poem quoted by O'Curry, which is followed by Keating, but other authorities as followed by O'Donovan and Flaherty, while agreeing in the first item, that is, 1 tríocha equal 30 ballies, give the ballybetach as containing 4 sesrachs or quarters, not 12, and each quarter 120 Irish acres. The province of Meath contained 18 tríocha cades. A tríocha is 30, but cade is like 100. Anyway, don't let me get distracted. I'm distracted already. Where were we? What's my name? What are we doing here? Yes, and that does happen. We're all human, right? I've been known to get up from this desk to walk out that door, out into the kitchen, out into the hall, and get to the hall or the sitting room or the front door and go, what did I come out here for? Totally forget and have to retrace my steps. Lynn Murphy is sending the old green heart, the old Irish heart of gold. Lynn, you're very welcome. The province of Meath contained 18 tríocha cades, Leinster 31, Ulster 35, Connacht 30, the 2 Munsters 70. 184 tríocha cades, cantreds or tuas in all Ireland, collectively containing 5,520 Ballybetachs. A Tuath contained, well, the reason this is interesting, right? I mean, it is a bit technical in its detail. But the reason this is interesting is because the townlands as we know them today, the Irish townlands, were actually first set down in the Norman era. So this would appear to be older than that, you know, the old way of measuring parcels of land and areas and districts. A tuath contained about 177 English square miles and might be represented in area by an oblong district, say 16 miles by 11. Sometimes 3, 4, or more tuaths were united to form one large territory under a king. This was called a mór tuath, literally a big tuath, or in this case, great tuath. The present subdivision into baronies is partly of English origin, but the old divisions were very often followed. Oh, okay, that's interesting. So the baronies, which I would have taken, were Norman, actually. In some cases, followed the older divisions. Wow. So that many of the ancient tuaths or trichacades are represented more or less nearly by the modern baronies, most of which retain their old names. Hence, trichacade, which literally signifies 30 hundreds. Thank you, Anthony. A cage or 100 being equivalent to a bally or ballybetach, is often translated cantred or barony. Interesting stuff. Okay. And this section of the chapter is called Classes of Kings. Careful, Anthony, you're on loudspeaker in Monaster Boys. Crack on with the myths. I have to make sure not to say any bold words, Peter, do I? Just in case there's anybody within earshot. Good evening to you. I hope you had a lovely day. Scorcher of a day today, wasn't it? Fabulous stuff. Glad to see the public toilets open at the Round Tower there. I'm not sure when they were open, but I know they were closed during the pandemic and for a long time afterwards. But myself and my wife and daughter had occasion to visit Monaster Boys Round Tower the other day and passed your house, undoubtedly on the way, because we came up from Cool 4 and we came down the hairpin onto the New Line Road and then almost an immediate right to go down to the tower. So I think you were along there somewhere. Should have stopped in for a cup of tea, but sure, look, that would have been a bit bold, wouldn't it? Just arriving and going, knock, knock. Peter, can we come in for a cup of tea? The government of the whole country, as well as that of each division and subdivision, was in the hands of a constitutional king or chief who had to carry on his government in accordance with the immemorial customs of the country or sub-kingdom. And his authority was further limited by the councils of his chief men. It's called government. That's called what's new, folks. That's like, yeah, get used to it. Yeah, top class. Knock the next time. I think, is it the first after you come from the New Line Road? Well, if you're coming from the motorway and you're turning right, and you have to sort of, it's a more than a 90-degree bend. Are you on the left? You're the first on the left at that, after that junction, or near that junction. Sue Prenter is in the house. So good to be with mythical friends. Great solace today, having had to say goodbye to one of my darling fur babies. Other dog owners know the pin. Oh, I'm very sorry about that, Sue. I can only imagine. Yeah, sympathies. It is. It's hard. They're family, and they give you love. What can I say? Dogs are family. So yeah, when you lose them, it hurts. Of course it does. You gad, says Alan. I know I've been away from the gatherings, but I thought that was a leg hanging up behind you there. Don't know what you're talking about, Alan. But anyway, maybe you'll explain. The usual name for a king in the ancient as well as in the modern language is Ri, Ori. Well, I think it's Ori father or Rig genitive, pronounced Ri as in R-E-E. Other less usual terms were foil, mal, and tria, all given in Cormac's glossary, and torque, which is glossed by Ri in LU, which is Laura Nahira. That's interesting too, isn't it? Fall. Leah Foil? No, Fall. F-A for the L. Mal and Tria. Torque. Turk Eagle. What is that? I am a boar. Boar. Yeah, boar, isn't it? Torque. Torc is a. My curtain. Okay, all right. I see now. It's like I hadn't a clue what that was about. Yeah. It's a curtain, not a leg. Yeah. A queen was and is Rion. Well, it's Ragan or I for the Oghan. But excuse me, the lenition on the G would make it silent. So Rion. Genitive Rina. Sometimes a queen was called Banrion, literally woman king or woman sovereign. All over Ireland, there was one king. All over Ireland. Read it again, Anthony, and properly this time. Over all Ireland, there was one king who, to distinguish him from others, was designated the Ard Ri, or Over King, from Ard High, and of course Ri King. The Over Kings lived at Tara until the 6th century. After that, elsewhere, hence the Ard Ri was often called King of Tara, even after its abandonment. Within historic times, no woman was sovereign of Ireland. But in the half-legendary history, we have one, and only one queen, who, however, succeeded to the sovereignty, not by election, but by force. Mocha Mongrua, Mocha of the red mane, or the red hair, the founder of Awan about 370 years BC, who seized the throne after the death of her father, a previous monarch. Fascinating stuff. Mocha of the red mane. At the end of this chapter will be found a list of the supreme kings of Ireland. Actually, I'm going to have a quick look at that list. I'm going to do that while you're all anticipating. You're all going, oh, I wish I could see that list. And I'm going, oh, I'm looking at that list and you can't see it. Yes. Oh, this is a long chapter. We're not going to be reading all this chapter tonight, folks. Definitely not. This is section 8. Oh, here we go. Kings of Ireland. Connery the Great. Wow. Began to reign about the first year of the Christian era. Wow. Louis Riamh Jarrag, Louis of the Red Circles. Conchobar Aurat Ruad, Connor of the Red Brows. Do you reckon he had red hair? Wow. Amazing stuff. But yeah, we'll get to that. We will get to that, but not tonight. Not tonight. The last over-king was Roderick O'Connor. Wearied with the turmoil of the Anglo-Norman invasion, which he was unable to repel, and with domestic discord, he retired from the world to the monastery of Cong, where he ended his troubled career in 1998. And there's a movie about him, the retired king who went to Cong, and of course the movie is called King Kong. Oh God. Oh Jesus, I didn't just do that today. Oh, I apologize. I am sorry. If you want me to switch off now, I will. I'll just end the broadcast while you all face palm and just say, I'm not watching this shit again. I'm just never watching this again. The last High King of Ireland, King Kong. After his death, there were no more supreme monarchs. And there is an asterisk there, leading us to read C. Joyce, Short History of Ireland, page 281, 282, 283. I don't have it, so I'll have to get it. This is a deficiency in my library. I need more books. But the provinces and the smaller kingdoms continued to be ruled by their native kings in succession down to a much later period. I'm seeing the reactions now. Vicky Wallace, hello, Vicky. I literally giggled, snorted. Yes, Lynn thought it was funny. Rex thought it was funny. Caroline clearly thought it was very funny. That's it, says the full Irish. I am calling the fun police. You are acting the fill in the blank. Time for a dram or two or three, says Brendan. So nice to see you, says Teresa. Is it Teresa? Hello, Teresa. Greetings from Oregon. We miss Ireland. King Kong, the last high king of Ireland. Oh, I'm sorry. That was a bad one. Michael Pike. Yes. Ouch. Exactly. Blonde with big, bushy, orange brows. Becca. uh, Jokes like that make it hard to believe it's not whiskey in the new bottle. Hang on till I take another sup. If it was whiskey, I tell you, I wouldn't be drinking it in that kind of quantity. Definitely not. There was a king over each of the 5 provinces, an arrangement commonly known as the pentarchy. Not in bloody Irish, it wasn't known as the pentarchy. A provincial king was elected monarch of Ireland. Sorry, I'm laughing and I'm getting it wrong now. I was laughing about what sort of takeaway food they had back in those days. Pentarchy fried chicken. Seriously, Anthony, no. Just no. If a provincial king was elected monarch of Ireland, a new king had to be elected over his province. For it was the rule that the same person could not be king of Ireland and of a province at the same time. We call that double jobbing. There was a time in Ireland where a public representative could be elected to a county council and be a TD at the same time. Guess what? They got rid of that, what they call dual mandate. It's like if only you had read the medieval laws of Ireland, you'd have known this was disallowed hundreds of years ago. The provinces again included many sub kingdoms, some consisting of a single tuath, and some of more, as has been said. The tuath was the smallest territory whose ruler could claim the title of Ri or king, but all of the 184 tuaths had not kings, so they didn't all have kings, basically. King Kong pentarchy chicken. Fast food, you have to catch it first. Yes, indeed. I mean, salted pork and all that. Yes. Wild boar, you have to track it down and kill it first, you know. Alva Kelly is laughing at that later one. I have to say, I was kind of halfway through it, and I said, I'm regretting this straight away. Pentarchy fried chicken. Isn't someone in grand form? The giggles and the jokes make me smile. I don't know. This is bad. It's like it used to be a live stream where people learned about Irish mythology. Now it's a live stream where people watch a nerd laughing at stupid jokes that aren't funny. Whatever it takes to get the smoke out. Ah. Whew. Okay. Serious face now. From this, it will be seen that, speaking in a general sense, there were 4 classes of kings: the king of the tuath, the king of the more tuath, the king of a province, and the king of all Ireland. Clearly, I mean, Joyce, I'm disappointed, right? This guy was a good scholar, right? I'm disappointed. He clearly gets it wrong here. He says that clearly it can be seen. Okay, he doesn't say clearly, but he says from this it can be seen that, speaking in general terms, there were 4 classes of kings in Ireland, right? The king of the tuath, the king of the more tuath, the king of a province, and the king of all Ireland. He's missed one. One very obvious one. Tom King. He's missed Tom King. There's 5 kings. The king of the tuath, the king of the more tuath, the king of a province, the king of all Ireland, and Tom King, forming a regular gradation, kingdom within kingdom. This agrees generally with the curious classification given in the laws by the, quote, king of hills or peaks, Peaks, unquote, i.e. of a tuath, to the king of companies, quote, king of companies, unquote, i.e. of a more tuath, and 3, the, quote, king who is the source of every chief, unquote. That is the king of kings, which includes the ardri and the provincial kings. So there's 3 types, is what you're saying. You're saying there's 4, but you're saying there's only 3 referenced in the laws. Interesting. Oh, 6, of course, King Kong, Brendan points out. Yes, indeed. On Gower rules today. He is the king of the forge. He certainly is. What? How dare he, says Kathy May. How dare he forget Tom King? I blame myself for asking for dad jokes. Sorry, everyone. Yeah, but you're not thinking about the pain right now, are you? No serious face today, says Becca02. It's a holiday in the US. Yeah, Labor Day, as we were talking about that earlier on. You have a day off on Labor Day. What an ironically termed holiday. Face green smiling. The bar is set low around here. Well, thank you. Look, in fairness, Gary has it spot on. If you've come here for humour, just understand that the bar is very, very low. Very low. Really, really very low. Like an inch from the ground low, you know? Like, we're at the bottom of the barrel, and we've already scraped like a half an inch down into the timbers at the bottom of the barrel to get out of the barrel, you know? Brendan wants to know if Tom King and King Kong are related. You can blame it on being out in the sun all day, Angela. Well, thank you, Anne. Yes, the convenience, folks. If I'm behaving a little bit weirdly, it's just all the sun I had today. It's not the fact that my bottle's full of whiskey. I mean, water. Yes, indeed. Let me get on with the reading. The kings of the provinces were subject to the overking and owed him tribute and, wait for it, war service. A similar law extended to all the sub-kingdoms. In other words, the king of each territory from the Tuatha upwards to the province was, at all events nominally, subject to the king of the larger territory in which it was included. So basically you wanted to get to the top of the pile so that you wouldn't have to go to war every few minutes. Some of the sub-kingdoms were very large, such as Tyrone, Tyrconnell, Thomond, Desmond, Ossory, Hymany, etc., each of which comprised several tuas and several tribes. A minor king under a king of one of these large territories was often called an uri or under king, called an uri by U-R-I-A-G-H by English writers. So there were over kings and under kings. Monica Regley is here, worked until now. Wow. Talk about, somebody should tell your employer that slavery has been abolished. It's a bit of a joke, but Monica, we've just been saying it's Labor Day in the United States and Canada, where they're on holidays. They've a day off for Labor Day. Away! The most ironically named holiday. Yes. Anyway, it's the sun, definitely. Election and inauguration is this section. What time are we on? We'll read this section and then I think, oh God, this is a long section. We may not read all of this section. We'll read so much of it. And when I start to see eyes glazing over, I'll know that people are getting fed up of the jokes and it'll be time to go for now until next week. Election and inauguration. Election. The king or ruling chief was always elected from members of one finne or family bearing the same surname when surnames came into use. But the succession was not hereditary in the present sense of the word. It was elective with the above limitation of being confined to one family. Yeah, it's democracy, folks. You can elect anyone you want so long as their name is Murphy. Any freeborn member of the family was eligible. The successor might be son, brother, nephew, cousin, etc. of the chief and the party, so long as he had the chief's surname. That member was chosen who was considered best able to lead in war and govern in peace. And of course, he should be of full age. What is that, by the way? He doesn't specify. Maybe he does later. Is that 18? Is that 15? Is that 21? Is it 30? Is it 50? Is it 99? He doesn't say. Two essential conditions are expressly laid down. That he should be free from all personal deformities or blemishes likely to impair his efficiency as a leader, or to lessen the respect of the people for him, and that both his father and grandfather had been flies. I don't know how to pronounce that. Flaw. F-L-A-I-T-H-S. It's an Irish word. Flaw as in sovereignty. Flahius. Flaws or nobles. Wow. So you had to be free from blemish, which is why Nuadu had to step down from the throne in mythology, because he had his arm chopped off. And which is why some of the kings stabbed out the eyes of their rival kings and their sons to prevent them from ruling because they were blemished. For the election of a ruling chief or minor king, the proceedings, which were carried on with much ceremony and deliberation, are described in the law. Every freeman of the rank Ara, A-I-R-E, had a vote. If there were several candidates, a court was held for the election in the house of the chief brewy or hosteler of the district, to which all the chiefs about to take part in the election proceeded, each with his full retinue, and where they remained in council for 3 days and 3 nights, at the end of which time the successful candidate was declared elected. The electors, says the law, were bound to see, quote, that the person they select is the man to whom the chieftainship is due, viz., that he is the son of a flaith or noble, and the grandson of another, that he has the 3 chief residences, and that he is pure, without stain of stealth or unlawful wounding. Wow. In other words, he couldn't have a secret stab wound somewhere, like, in his privates or in his buttocks or somewhere like that, For the higher classes of kings, such as the supreme monarch or the king of a province, the proceedings were much more formal, solemn, and imposing. 3 days, God, you couldn't get more imposing than that. And the court for the election was probably held in one of the palaces. With the object of avoiding the evils of a disputed succession, the person to succeed a king or ruling chief was often elected by the chiefs convened in formal meeting during the lifetime of the king himself. When elected, he was called the Tanist, Irish Taoiseach, a word meaning second, i.e. second in authority. And by the way, all you Irish people will know this, and maybe some of the non-Irish viewers, but a deputy prime minister in Ireland today is still called the Taoiseach, from that word. So there you go. Very similar to Tolkien's work of lesser kings and higher kings. I think Tolkien was much more familiar with Irish mythology than he would have admitted to. Proper provision was made for the support of the Tanist by a separate establishment, an allowance of mensal land. Again, I don't understand that. Nobody has come back with an explanation. Is this land that he had for a month? Or does mensal have another meaning here? A custom which continued, in case of the Tanists, of provincial and minor kings, till the time of Elizabeth, and even later. The Tanist, says Spencer, quote, hath also a share of the country allotted to him, and certain cuttings and spendings, i.e. tribute of several kinds, upon all the inhabitants under the Lord. Unquote. Desiree Riley's in the house. Just moved into my new place in town. Me and Amadeus are so happy. Brilliant stuff. Congratulations on that. Your health to enjoy. Hope it's a fabulous move. And hope the Wi-Fi is good and there's no interruptions to Monday services. Streaming. Brilliant, Desiree. Well done. And thanks for joining us. You've missed a few cheesy dad joke moments, but you'll probably be glad you missed them, to be honest. Not worth rewinding afterwards. Really, they're not. He was subordinate to the king or chief, but was above all the other dignitaries of the state. The other persons who were eligible to succeed in case of the Tanist's failure were termed Ridauna, or Redauna, i.e. king material. I love that. Oh yeah, he's king material for sure. King Kong and Tom King, both king material. Yes, indeed. A curious arrangement sometimes adopted was the election of 2 joint kings of Ireland who reigned simultaneously. By reference to the table at the end of this chapter, it will be seen that there were 5 joint reigns between 565 AD and 664 AD. Sometimes the joint kings were brothers, sometimes not, and of course mythologically the first of those were Erimon and Eberfin of the Milesians. We have no details as to the arrangements adopted to define the authority of each, or of the measures taken to avoid friction or quarrels. Interesting. And 565, am I right in saying, hang on, I'm going to check this while I'm asking the question. Remember, we were talking about dendrochronology. Three Rings and the Catastrophes was one of those 540 AD or 560. It was 540, wasn't it? Not 560. Sorry, I'm just going to check. I think it was 540. Yeah, I think it was almost certain now. Thinking about it, it was 540. Yeah, 540. The inauguration or making of a king was a very impressive ceremony. Of the mode of inaugurating the pagan kings, we hardly know anything further than this, that the kings of Ireland had to stand on an inauguration stone at Tara called Leofoil, which uttered a roar, as was believed, when a king of the old Milesian race stood upon it. And of course, Leofoil, which is, and I was telling my guests this today, and I've been doing it on recent tours at Tara. A lot of people translate Leofoil as the stone of destiny, but actually its literal translation is Lea Fo Oil, the understone, i.e. Lea understone, the stone under the king. Amadeus wants to know if he missed any of Coda's dad jokes. Well, I could ask him. Funnily enough, Saskia was very, very giddy before I started live streaming this evening, making a lot of noise, yelping and yelping she was. She may have wanted food, and I think she was fed in the meantime. But Coda's quiet. Hoping he's hearing us and that he will respond. Coda, you're very quiet tonight. But we possess full information on the ceremonies used in Christian times. The mode of inaugurating was much the same in its general features all over the country. By the way, I wonder whether there wasn't much difference between how the kings were inaugurated in Christian times and how they had been inaugurated previous to that. The mode of inaugurating was much the same in its general features all over the country, and was strongly marked by a religious character. But there were differences in detail, for some tribes had traditional costumes. Read that sentence again, Anthony, please. But there were differences in detail, for some tribes had traditional customs not practiced by others. One could understand, I suppose, why I might have thought they were wearing costumes. There was a definite formula, every portion of which should be scrupulously carried out in order to render the ceremony legal. Some of the observances that have come within the ken of history, as described below, descended from pagan times. Well, there you go. He's just saying what I was suggesting earlier. Each tribe or aggregation of tribes with a king at their head had a special place of inauguration, which was held in much respect, invested indeed with a half-sacred character. It was on the top of a hill or on an ancestral cairn, the sepulchre of the founder of the race, or on a large lish or fort, and sometimes under a venerable tree called in Irish a billa. Interesting stuff, because the ceremony, or well, on Furra at Tara, as I've been also telling my tour guests for the last X number of years, I can't remember, is in fact on top of a Bronze Age barrow mound. Each tribe used an inauguration stone, a custom common also among the Celts of Scotland. Yay! Up the Celts of Scotland. Some of the inauguration stones had the impression of 2 feet, popularly believed to be the exact size of the feet of the first chief of the tribe who took possession of the territory. Fascinating, isn't it? The footprints in the stones that you hear stories of in Ireland. Sandra Boothroyd, sounds good. Just caught up with you. Brilliant stuff, Sandra. You're very welcome. Woof, says Monica. Very interesting, says Marcus. Who also adds that my little dog is asleep too. She's called Erin. Lovely name. Fantastic. So, yes, sometimes there was an impression of the 2 feet, popularly believed to be the exact size of the feet of the first chief of the tribe who took possession of the territory. Wow. Sometimes there was a stone chair on which the king sat during part of the ceremony. On the day of the inauguration, the sub-chiefs of the territory and all of the great officers of state, the brehons, poets, and historians were present, as also the bishops, abbots, and other leading ecclesiastics. The hereditary historian of the tribe read for the elected chief the laws that were to regulate his conduct, after which the chief swore to observe them, to maintain the ancient customs of the tribe, and to rule his people with strict justice. Then, while he stood on the stone, an officer, whose special duty it was, handed him a straight white wand, a symbol of authority. The forked hazel that Elkmar had at Newgrange. Fantastic. And also an emblem of what his conduct and judicial decisions should be, straight and without stain. Having put aside his sword and other weapons, and holding his rod in his hand, the white stick is what they're talking about, folks, just in case any of you have descended straight into the gutter like I just did. He turned thrice round from left to right and thrice from right to left in honour of the Holy Trinity, and to view his territory in every direction. Actually, that's fascinating. I did not know that was part of the ritual. Apologies. Wow. In some cases, one of the sub-chiefs put on his sandal or shoe in token of submission. It's his shoe. Let's follow the Messiah. Never mind. Or threw a slipper over his head for good luck and prosperity. Yes, Desiree, keep it PG. I know, right? Let's just, yes. What book is this from? Says, is it Jose or Jose? Depends on whether you're from Spain or the Balearics. There you go. And it's no, there's no, yes. So maybe it's just Joe's. It is from A Social History of Ancient Ireland by P.W. Joyce. This is a facsimile reprint of same, originally published in 1903. Let's gather shoes in abundance. Load. Yeah. Funniest moment of the live stream so far. Probably the most embarrassing one for me, because I was thinking, just keep a straight face, Anthony. Don't even bat an eyelid. And I just couldn't. I apologize. I do for the childishness, for the head going straight into the gutter. Apologies for that. Excuse me. And I haven't had a drop. That's water. It really is. Then one of the sub-chiefs appointed for this purpose pronounced in a loud voice his surname, the surname only, without the Christian name, which was afterwards pronounced aloud by each of the clergy, one after another, according to dignity, and then by the sub-chiefs. He was then the lawful chief, and ever after, when spoken to, he was addressed O'Neill, McCarthy Moore, O'Connor, etc., for examples. And when spoken of in English, he was designated the O'Neill, etc., a custom existing to this day, as we see in the O'Connor Don, the MacDermot in Scotland, the McCallum Moore. The main parts of the inauguration ceremony were performed by one or more sub-chiefs. This office was highly honourable and was hereditary. I'm still thinking of this. Excuse me. That doesn't help. I love it when Anthony gets the giggles. Says, "Oh, okay. Well, perhaps we should make this a more regular feature." Actually, it happens every week, pretty much, doesn't it? I'm not, Marcus. I'm not reading that one out. He took it in his hand and swung left to right 3 times. Anyway, woohoo! The main parts of the inauguration ceremony were performed by one or more sub-chiefs. This office was highly honourable and was hereditary. The inaugurator had a tract of land and a residence free, which remained in the family. The O'Neills of Tyrone were inaugurated by O'Hagan and O'Cahan at Tullahogue near Dungannon, where the fine old inauguration moat still remains. The O'Donnells of Tyrconnell by O'Friel at the Rock of Doon near Kilmacrennan. The fort of Myire near the village of Quinn in Clare, on which the Dalcassian kings were made, has been described by Mr. Westrop, Proceedings of the Royal Irish Academy, 1896 to 98, page 55, if you're interested. And Carn Free, the mound on which the O'Connors, kings of Connacht, were inaugurated, is to be seen in the townland of Cairns, near Tulsk in Roscommon. The rich see O'Donovan in Four Masters. The rich dress and robes worn by the king for the first and only time on the day of inauguration, and commonly the horse he rode to the place with all trappings, became the property of the chief officer or officers who performed the ceremony. But in this respect, customs varied in different places. The oldest record in our ancient writings of the inauguration of a king, probably the oldest reference to Christian inauguration anywhere to be found, is given by Adamnan, where he mentions the ordination by Saint Columba of Adon as king of the Dalriadic Scots, 574 AD. Of course, Dalriada, that kingdom that extended from what is now Northern Ireland across the sea to Scotland, the Dalriata kings. He calls the ceremony, which is why the Scots are called Scotland means the land of the Irish, because the Irish were known as Scotty. He calls the ceremony ordinatio, or ordination, obviously, and states that Columba blessed Benedixit, the new king, as part of the ceremony, but he gives no further details. The bugger. Okay, I'm going to read 2 more pages. Are we okay? Is everybody still with us? Patricia Pack, I'm not reading that comment either. Oh, brilliant. Yeah. Oh, fantastic. Giraldus Cambrensis, in a chapter of his topography, Topographica Hibernica, has an account of a disgusting ceremony, which he says was observed by the Kinnail Conal in the inauguration of their chiefs, that at the inauguration meeting, which was attended by the whole people of the territory, a white mare was brought forward, and we discussed this in our episodes about Giraldus Cambrensis. The white mare was brought forward towards which the chief about to be elected crept all fours on hands and knees. Then the animal was killed, its flesh boiled, and a bath made of the broth. Into this the elected chief plunged, and while sitting in it, he ate and drank his fill of flesh and broth, helping himself by dipping down his mouth, and what he left his subjects finished. Wow. Whereupon he became chief. Here it will be observed that Giraldus reports the ceremony of one particular tribe, not the general custom all over Ireland. And the story is obviously one of the many silly fables which we find in his book, like those of the sorcerers who used to turn stones into red pigs at fairs, of a lion that fell in love with a young woman, and many others of a like kind. Plus, don't forget, Cambrensis was very anti-Irish, and he painted us in a less than ideal he painted a less than rosy picture of us, just put it that way. Then we must remember that he does not record from personal experience, for he was never in Tyrconnell, nor within 100 miles of it. And the whole story is so absurd that many are convinced it was told to him in a joke by some person who was aware of his limited credulity, for no person believes he deliberately invented it. Irish and other writers have left us detailed descriptions of the installation ceremonies, in none of which do we find anything like what Giraldus mentions, and some have directly refuted him. His statement is absolutely unsupported. Harris, the editor of Ware's works, says, quote, "The falsity of this filthy fable will best appear by giving a candid relation of the true ceremonies used at the initiation of the kings of Tyrconnell," unquote. And he then goes on to detail the ceremony, which agrees with the description given at page 45 above. Harris's account, and also those by the native writers, have been corroborated in all leading particulars by a writer whom many will perhaps consider the best authority of all, Edmund Spenser. Spenser knew what he was writing about, and his description, though brief, is very correct and agrees, so far as it goes, with the Irish accounts, while he has not a word about the Tyrconnell ceremony described by Giraldus. Quote, "They used to place him that shall be their captain upon a stone always reserved for that purpose, and placed commonly upon a hill, in some of which I have seen formed and engraven a foot, which they say was the measure of their first captain's foot, whereupon he standing receives an oath to preserve all the ancient former customs of the country inviolable, and to deliver up the succession peaceably to his tanist, and then hath a wand delivered unto him by some whose proper office that is, after which, descending from the stone, he turneth himself round thrice forward and thrice backward. As the tribe elected their king through the votes of their representative men, so they might at any time depose of him if he was proven unsatisfactory. The O'Kelly, king of the Hymany, was inaugurated by the two families of Clan Diarmada and High Cormac, and the family of Mithigan or Meehan, which families had also the function of deposing him, quote, at the instance and by the authority of the whole tribe of Hymany, unquote. The Shanachus Mór, which is the collection of the Brehon laws, mentions the liability of the king to deposition. Quote, there are 4 dignitaries of a territory who may be degraded: a false judging king, a stumbling bishop, a fraudulent poet, an unworthy chieftain who does not fulfill his duties, unquote. It is probable that there was a formal ceremony for deposition, but I do not find it anywhere described. In case of an interregnum, some eminent man, often an ecclesiastic or an olive, as in chief poet, was appointed regent, for which see chapter 11, section 6. So, yes, as an interim measure, a bishop or a chief poet could be elected as the stand-in king until a proper one was elected. Anyway, that's all we have for tonight. Hope you enjoyed that. I had fun. Maybe a little bit too much fun, let's be honest. Yeah, right. This broth tastes like someone bathed in it. Bit disturbing, really. I mean, if there is any truth to it at all, you know. There's the old Irish takeaway you mentioned earlier, says Gavin. Ew, sounds nasty. Yes, indeed, it does. Yes, yes. Vegetarian's nightmare for sure. Yes. I had good laughs tonight. Well, I'm glad I wasn't the only one, Marcus. At least there's 2 of us. At least 2, hopefully a few more. But anyway, look, you know, laugh and the world laughs with you. Fart and you fart alone. Something like that, isn't it? I probably have that completely wrong, but I do remember some sort of a stupid children's toy when I was young that had something like that. Yes. So, if you were following Mythical Ireland social media today, there were 2 pictures shared, both of which had the caption, "Where am I?" The first one showed roughly a circle in megalithic art, and I wanted specifics, and a lot of people didn't get the answers right, shockingly. The first one, so if you're on Facebook, the Mythical Ireland Facebook page or the Instagram, the first one, which was a circle with some additions, was at Fornox in the chamber. So we had Carol Keel as a guest. Fergal Canton brilliantly got it, saying, "Knock, knock, who's there? Knock, knock," as another way of saying 4 knocks. Eileen O'Flynn Highland, 4 knocks, such amazing art in there, especially love the zigzags. So some people had it right. Shalini Vander Owera said 4 knocks, brilliant. Nikki Deziu, I don't know how to pronounce that, said 4 knocks. A few people said the moon. But some people did get that right. And the second photo, which was an outdoor photo showing a very pitted rock, naturally pitted, not megalithic art, is actually, let me see if anybody got it right first of all. Let me have a look at all the comments here. A very funny comment by Kira Bissett, which says, "If this is a game of hide and seek, you win. I'm not checking behind every rock in every field in Ireland." Somebody guessed Carrow Keel, somebody guessed the Hag of Beara, somebody guessed Newgrange, somebody guessed Inishmore. Nobody got it right. It's actually one of the curbstones at Cairn T at Loch Crew. Can I show you that? Let me see if I can share that with you. Can I? Hang on now a second. Just give me a second here, folks. Uh, uh, hmm. Ah, let me try that. Okay. Share. Let me share that. Share screen. Yep. So that was the curbstone at Loughcrew, Cairn all of those little holes are just they seem to be natural pitting or maybe solution holes or something in that stone. Not one person on Facebook, maybe on Instagram. Somebody, I'll just check Instagram while I am here. Stintagram. It's an anagram of Instagram. Let me see. Oh, Paul Goran guessed Loughcrew. A good guess, and 4 knocks earlier. Yeah, so Paul was on the ball, but seems to have been the only one. And what was the other? Let me just quickly check. Yeah, here was the other image. That was from the lintel stone that is actually inside the chamber, bolted to the wall, but which probably originally belonged to the exterior of the passage entrance facing out. So there you go. Austin Robert is saying, wait to hear this. Hello, how are you? Sorry for the wrong approach. You have a beautiful profile. I tried to send a friend request, but unfortunately it didn't work. Please send a friend request or direct message so we can get to know each other better. No thanks, Austin. Not your type. Or you're not my type. I don't like kind of creepy internet approaches, to be honest. Wow, that doesn't happen every day. Yes, indeed, Vicky. We do. We know what to do. Report. Yeah. Love that last comment, says Marcus. Very close to a rock. It's like, yeah, where am I? Specifically, from the picture, please tell me where I am. And then all the funny ones who don't know where I am, but who want to be funny come out of the woodwork. Anyway, thank you all for watching. Indeed, have a drop kicked, brilliant stuff. Have a great Monday. Those of you who are in Tuesday already, have a great Tuesday. Have a great week in general. Hope the weather keeps up here in Ireland, where we are having something resembling an Indian summer that has so far lasted 2 days. And hopefully we'll see you all again next week. I did very, very briefly live stream at Newgrange yesterday. Some of you got to see that. But I was approached by somebody who I knew who wanted to have a chat with me. So I stopped a minute after starting. So that stuff does happen from time to time, those impromptu live streams. Please don't forget to support Mythical Ireland. If you like the live streams, please help to continue the work that is Mythical Ireland by becoming a patron at patreon.com/Mythical Ireland. At the moment, lots of stuff being shared on a regular basis with the patrons. Or if you want to do a one-off thing, buymeacoffee.com/Mythical Ireland, or go to the Mythical Ireland website and the donate page and pledge a few quid using PayPal or whatever, and get yourself a free digital copy of Land of the Ever Living One. There's another Anthony. Oh God, as if one wasn't bad enough. It's long go full. Good fun. Thank you, Anthony and the two. Take care, my friends. Until next time, take care out there. Indeed, Tom. Have a great evening yourself and keep the fire lit. I'm going to keep streaming just for a moment until I see if I can. That's a Facebook comment. Elaine Dent Lingenfelter commented on the Mythical Ireland community. Where are you? Because I was a couple of minutes late. Wow, I didn't know you cared that much. I did know you cared that much. Honestly, I did. I'm just going to see if I can actually remove that person from the page while we're still streaming. Very annoying. What is the name? There we go. Block. Ban from stream. That'll do. Done. Right, good night all. Have a great week, and we'll see you next week for the next episode. All that remains for me to say is Ichawak Hulasov, Slán go Fóil and Tóg Buggy. Take it easy. Bye bye.